Hi, my name is Leah, and I'm an educator here with the National World War II Museum. Welcome to our final installment in our series on scientists and innovators from World War II. Today we're going to be learning a little bit about a woman named Chien-Shiung Wu. She faced a lot of obstacles, both as a woman and as a Chinese immigrant during the 1940s. But she went on to work on the Manhattan Project and to eventually become one of the most important nuclear physicists of her time. So we're going to hear from Adele as she tells us a little bit about Chien-Shiung's life. All right.
I'm Adele and I'm from Metairie Academy. I'm here to tell you about Chien-Shiung Wu from World War II. In the fall of 1944, scientists were hard at work putting the final touches on the B reactor in Hanford, Washington. It was World War II, and this reactor was part of the U.S.'s top secret mission, the Manhattan Project, to build an atomic bomb before Germany. The B reactor was a pivotal part of this mission. It was a huge reactor whose job was to create an essential element, plutonium, for the bomb. This was the first large-scale nuclear reactor ever built. Scientists had just completed construction on the reactor and were loading the reactor with uranium. Plans were set, everything was ready. Time was of the essence, and everyone hoped that this would work. There was no time to start from scratch. Chain reaction started up successfully, and excitement and relief was felt. However, this excitement turned into concern and disbelief as the power levels started to fall after only 3 hours. By the next day, the reaction had stopped completely. Scientists were at a loss to explain this unexpected mysterious issue. Tensions were mounting. Luckily, someone remembered there was a particular scientist who had studied this field during her PhD. Someone called up the physicist Chien-Shiung Wu to help investigate the issue. He was able to identify the issue as xenon poisoning, and the project was able to get back on track. Chien-Shiung Wu was an immigrant born in China who came to the U.S. to further her education. She originally planned to go to the University of Michigan, but upon hearing that they had required women to use a separate entrance, she decided to go to U.S. Berkeley. She was shocked to experience so much anti-Asian and sexism. After moving to the U.S., nevertheless, she was able to make a huge breakthrough in science and become the first female physicist professor at Princeton. Not only did she help solve the issue of the B reactor shutting down, she also developed a crucial way to separate uranium into its 2 types, UT-35 and UT-38, and developed a way to measure nuclear radiation. After World War II, she continued to work in nuclear physics and wrote a book that is still used as a standard resource for nuclear physicists. During her personal life, she was a strong advocate for gender equality and women in STEM. She was quoted saying, I wonder whether the tiny atoms or nuclei with mathematical symbols or DNA molecules have a preference for either masculine or feminine treatment. She fought for equal pay as her male counterparts, which she eventually received, and worked hard to make sure that women could receive the same opportunities as men in the STEM fields. Many of her contributions to science went unrecognized for a long time, but she is now referred to as the First Lady of Physics.
All right. Thank you, Adele, for sharing a little bit about Chien-Shiung Wu's life. So today we're going to do an activity that has to do with radiation in honor of Chien-Shiung making important improvements to Geiger counters, which are important tools for detecting radiation in nuclear power plants. So there are all different types of radiation. So let's take a look. So different types of radiation fall along the electromagnetic spectrum. So over here we have our radio waves. So these are going to be the longest waves. So the length of these waves is about the length of a tall building. Those are obviously the waves used in radio towers and cell phone towers. Then we also have microwaves. So those are what are used in your microwave to heat your food. We have infrared light. So again, we can't see these waves, but they're emanated from your body from the heat that it gives off. These waves are going to be getting shorter and shorter. So now we have waves that are about the width of a needle point. Then we get into our visible light spectrum. So this is the full rainbow here. This is the light that we can see around us. Then we get even smaller, we get UV light, which the light waves are about the size of a molecule. So UV light comes from the sun. This is a type of radiation. We're getting into now our harmful radiation side of the spectrum. Of course, when we go out into the sun, they recommend that we wear sunscreen and other protective layers because the ultraviolet light can damage our cells. Then we get into X-rays. So this is another type of radiation. It's used obviously in medical imaging. So it is also occurs in nature naturally up in space in black holes and things like that. Then we get over to gamma rays. So this is our nuclear radiation over here. Gamma rays come from nuclear explosions and things like that. And these are super tiny, like waves that are really close together. The distance between the waves is about the size of an atomic nucleus. So what we're going to be dealing with today is we're going to be dealing with UV light. So the Geiger counters that Chien-Shiung improved are meant to detect gamma rays or nuclear radiation, but we're going to be working with UV light today. Okay, so in this activity, we're going to be making sun prints. So when UV light interacts with paints or dyes, it can kind of alter the composition of those chemicals and leave shadows if you put things on top of the dye or the paint and leave it out in the sun for a couple of hours. So this is a super simple experiment. What we're going to be doing today, it's going to involve acrylic paint if you have it. If you're going to be doing this on something that you want to be able to wash, we would recommend washable paints or non-washable paints and dyes if you want to keep, you know, the pattern that you make on the clothing. You need a paintbrush. You're going to need whatever plants or leaves that you're going to want to use to make your pattern with. And then you're going to need whatever fabric you're going to be painting on. Alrighty. I've put down this garbage bag here to protect the table. So you want to, take any protective measures that you might need. So all you need to do is you need to get your acrylic paint, put out a little bit of it. We recommend that you sort of water down your paint a little bit. Thick paint isn't going to work as well for this experiment. So we're going to water it down a little bit and mix it in here. Once you get kind of a nice watery consistency, then you'll take your brush and you're just going to paint some layers down here. Paint the surface area that you're going to want your shadows to show up on. All right, so once I've got this nice and painted, I'm going to take the leaves that I want and I'm going to press them down in the pattern that I want my shadows to be in. So I've got some nice leaves. I've got a little resurrection fern I'm going to put on here. I got this other little branch. So I'm going to stick them down in the pattern that I want. And then, super simple, all you have to do is go and take this, place it outside in the sun somewhere for about 2 hours. I would highly recommend that you weight it down if you live somewhere that's a little bit windy, just to make sure it doesn't blow away. But yeah, then the sun will do its work. Once you come back, then all you have to do is lift off all of your leaves and an impression will be left behind. And you'll get a design that looks something like this with little shadows on it. All right, so if you do that activity, we would love to see whatever designs you come up with. That concludes our series on important but overlooked innovators and scientists from World War II. Thanks again to Lana, Christina, and Adele for helping to share the stories of these women. If you did some of this learning at home and would like to share any images or videos of your learning, please feel free to email us at STEM@nationalww2museum.org. All right, thank you for joining.